Hey guys, welcome to my UC diary. My name is Trish and welcome. Okay, so this is a video that I have been trying to upload for a really long time. Well, for a couple weeks, but I accidentally deleted the previous version that I had. So unfortunately I had to start over, and then with the holidays, and then I lost my voice and we were all getting sick, so you know, winter germs. So I'm doing it now. I'm going to start over. So today what I'm doing is a video regarding my ostomy supplies and what I use whenever I have to change my appliance. And so I'm going to go over, my routine, but then I'm also going to go over an emergency kit that I always have that I take everywhere with me, except for that one time that I didn't. And that was unfortunate. But anyway, so come on. Come and join the ride, and let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now, whenever I change my ostomy, from the very first time, my stoma and wound care nurse told me always have everything on hand. Double check, make sure that you have everything ready, especially with an ileostomy because they tend to constantly leak. You need to be sure that you have all your supplies on hand to make it as quick and as little stress as possible and just make it effortless. And so we're going to go ahead and go over that. Now also, I just want to add a little disclaimer in here that this is what works for me, and this is what I have been shown to do and what I have been advised to do. So please understand that this may not be anything that works for you, or it may not be something that's good for you to do. So always check with your doctors and your nurses before you ever do anything that maybe you shouldn't do. Okay, so one thing that I do want to mention is because I do have an ileostomy, I have been advised that eating a couple marshmallows, 4 to 5 marshmallows, within 10 minutes of me changing my appliance will really help slow down the leaking. I've gotten to a point now where I can change my appliance within a few minutes. It doesn't take long. If before I learned the marshmallow trick, which actually worked, it would take me 10 to 15 minutes because I'd have to stop or start over. And so it was really frustrating. And I was just like, how does anybody do this? Like, how do people with ileostomies do this? Like, every other day or every couple of days? Like, how do they manage the time to do this? So, that said, first thing I do before I even start is I pop like 4 or 5 marshmallows, little mini marshmallows, into my mouth, and then I start getting my stuff together, because by that time I'm working out anything that needs to come out of the stoma, but also the marshmallows are starting to slow that flow down. So by the time I take everything off, I am good to go. Okay, so first things first, I always get gloves. I always have my gloves handy, because there is a certain part of it that I like to use gloves, and then there's another parts that I don't. So I'll kind of go over that. The next thing that I always make sure is that I have my medical adhesive remover. I know that's kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can get that to focus. Okay, my medical adhesive remover, and this is just a spray bottle. But then I also have universal remover wipes. I wore black so that hopefully it would be easier, but it's not helping. There we go. Yeah. And then also skin protectant wipes. These are important. Super important. Okay. And then, so once I've got my gloves and I've got my skin protectant wipes and my medical adhesive remover, I also go ahead and grab my Sarah ring or adapter ring. I'm not sure which to call it, but these things are awesome. And this is just, I'm not going to take it all, well no, I'll take it out, it's fine. I've got a bajillion of these, so it won't hurt to sacrifice one. But it comes in this little plastic container. Oh, before I forget, I use the brand Hollister. That's just the one that they started me with. I think that they're kind of the standard, but it doesn't work for everybody. So again, it may not work for you, and this is not by any means an endorsement for Hollister. They're not sponsoring me or anything along those lines. This is just me talking about me and what products I use, so that just so you're not completely in the not knowing zone. Okay, but this is the ring that actually goes after. I'll kind of talk about everything in a second, but this is the ring that goes around your stoma before you put, after you've cleaned everything, this is what goes around your stoma. So we'll talk about that in a second. It's super sticky. That's why I hesitated to even take it out. Okay, and next I go ahead and make sure I have my gauze pads, because I always use gauze pads to clean it, because it doesn't leave any residue and it just seems to be more gentle. Next is every time you get, hold on, let me talk about this first. These are my Hollister wafers. Sometimes I don't know if I'm using the right term, so forgive me if I'm not. I just, there's certain things I remember and there's certain things I don't. But they come in this package, and I always grab two just in case, because sometimes when I cut one, I may cut it wrong. The same with my, I'm sorry, I had to adjust, my leg was going to sleep. The same with these little rings. I always grab a couple just in case, because if it does start, if the ileostomy starts leaking, or if you cut it wrong, just have extra on hand. But this is what the wafer looks like, and you can kind of see that you cut it to form perfectly around your stoma, because everybody's stoma is different. No one stoma is the same, or no two stomas are the same. Okay, next I make sure, hold on, some of this stuff is in my emergency kit, because I always have it with me. Next, I always have a mirror, because look, you can see me. I always have a mirror, and it has a magnet on the back, but I don't have anything magnetic in my bathroom to hook it to, so I just prop it up on my vanity, and I use that to see my stoma and to make sure I've got everything fitted appropriately. Second is these scissors. These are kind of, let me see, sometimes the focus is wonky. So these are the scissors that you use to cut the wafer. Do not use these for anything other than cutting your wafer. My nurse was very diligent about telling me, do not use these for anything but that. Okay, next, ooh, I found a better one, so I'm going to put those away. You are sent, with every package that you receive of wafers, you get a new set of these. Hi. Okay, these are for measuring different sizes of stomas. And I don't know if you guys can really see it, but I'll try to put one up. But you can see the measurements, like 2.5 inches, I think that's like 3/4, so on and so forth. So you use these, and I'll show you in a moment how to use these. Okay, so next I also have to use, I'm going to cover some of this up, I have to use a nystatin powder, because with an ileostomy it does leak a lot, so sometimes you will get a yeast type infection, or just skin irritation around the stoma site. But also, if you have sensitive skin, you can get it from the adhesive in the wafer. So nystatin powder helps with that. Okay, and last but not least is the bags. Now, you choose whichever bag you want. Currently, I am using this bag, which is the mini collection bag, because I have been running a bajillion errands today. So I used the small one. But there is also the big one, which I do prefer, much prefer, on days that I'm just going to be around the house, just so I don't have to empty it as much, and also because it gives you a really good idea if you are going to have the reversal surgery. It gives you an excellent idea of how many times that you are going to have a bowel movement. So at this point, I'm averaging about 4 times that I truly have to empty it. I empty it a lot more though, because if I'm not doing anything and there's something in it, I just go ahead and, get rid of it. But truly, you don't have to empty it until, hold on, see where it says Hollister here? If it gets to like right above Hollister, that's usually the time that you really should empty it, just for your own comfort. And so I only truly have to do that maybe 4 or 5 times a day, especially sometimes it's more if I drink a whole lot, but whatever. I always worry about dehydration. Oh, let me grab a pen, and always make sure that you have a pen, because you will need a pen. All right, now one thing to mention that I do want to mention is get one of these, and usually you'll get one at the hospital, and it folds up real nice. See, And it's just a handy little emergency kit, as I call it. Never leave home without it, because trust me, you will regret it if you do. That's all I'm going to say about that. I was at the doctor's office. Okay, so I am going to talk about it. I was at the doctor's office and it started leaking and I had nothing. So I was stuck. But anyway, always keep, you know, a couple of the Adapt Sarah rings in it. See, this one has a better, it's kind of hard to see, but always keep a couple of those. Keep some gauze pads, rubber gloves, a couple wafers. It's probably easier to put some of the mini bags in there because of just the size. Always have a couple of the wipes. I always also, I don't use this unless there's like an emergency situation, or if I just absolutely do not want to have to change my a wafer again. Adapt paste. It's sometimes irritating for me, but it's almost like caulk for your stoma. If you overcut and you have a space where you can see your skin exposed, use this, you know, because sometimes less is more, and if you've changed it, or if it's really, and you know, everything's fine, it's just there's a little hair of a gap, then use that just so you don't have to go through and start all over again. Okay, but always have that on hand with you, even if you just keep it in your car, which is what I do. I don't always just carry it in my purse. I'll keep it in my car. That way I've always got it. Okay, but let's go ahead and get started about the order of operations for things. Okay, so I always put my nystatin powder, I put it into a little bowl. And what I do, I always have that in a bowl first. You have to wear gloves when using that. That cannot get on your skin. Like on your hands, just because if it happens to get into your eyes, nose, or mouth, it could be, I'm assuming, bad, because they warned me repeatedly about that. I don't need to ask questions, I just do as I'm told. Okay, so the first thing that I do is I go ahead, after I've had my marshmallows and you know I've gotten all my stuff together, I go ahead. No gloves at this point. I have washed my hands, but no gloves. And I'm not going to change it right now. I was kind of hoping to do that, but it's really difficult to do that on camera. But yeah, so I didn't. I figured I'll just walk through it with you guys. And I've already changed it today, and I really just don't want to do it again. It's on there perfect like a glove, and I just don't want to screw that up. So first things first is I start with the medical adhesive remover spray. It is a miracle how much this helped my skin, because the adhesive, I mean, if you think about it, the adhesive is incredibly strong, and so the adhesive is very tight and sometimes hard to get off the skin, even in the point where you start getting, sometimes I'll get bubbles where it starts to come undone in certain areas. And when that happens, you know, even then, this is very helpful to have. So I go ahead and spray. Here, I'll just show you here. Whenever this is on you, this is, you know, it's kind of like a cloth-like material, if you can see that. And so, you know, just imagine your stoma's here. I'll put my finger through it. So there's your stoma. It's attractive, isn't it? Red and everything. And so your stoma's here. And you've got your bag over your stoma. So I'll kind of demonstrate like that. Hold on. I'll just do it right. Okay, so you've got your stoma and you've got the bag in. And so, if you guys can see that. And I just lift up the bag like so. And I start spraying this all along the edges. All around there. You know, getting that good and saturated. And I always have a little trash bag, and you'll get that with your ostomy bags. You'll get little trash bags, and they're amazing. They work really, really good. Okay, so let me take this off. And so once I get that sprayed, I go ahead and open this, and these dry out. Hold on. Can you see it? They dry out super fast, so you've got to be quick and deliberate, which I can do it with one, and sometimes I'll just use the spray and resaturate it just to save it. But you get so many of these that you can use one or two and get it off. But you use a manner of, when you're peeling it off, you're like, this is against your skin, and so you're pulling it back, but you're pressing with another finger, pressing your skin off of it very gently. And sometimes, just because sometimes you'll have like maybe little hairs on your stomach, and because it just causes less irritation. So think of like when you're pulling a really tight band-aid off, how you'll pull it, you know, gently off your skin. I think my dog's trying to get into my room. That or my kids, I don't know. I told them that I was filming a video, so to just let me be for a second so I could get this done. And that sounds really awful. I'm sorry. I'm not awful, but I knew I had to get this done. And so they're just playing. They're having a blast. Okay. So anyway, so let's say you've got everything peeled off. You've got the, you know, ostomy bag. Everything's off. You've got that thrown into your little trash bag. I sometimes will use an extra one of these wipes if it didn't all come off. Sorry. An extra one of those so that I can rub off any of the adhesive from the Sarah ring, and, you know, to just clean up any nystatin powder or anything that's left on my skin. So I go ahead and do that. Now, after you have done that, if you're using the nystatin powder, this is the point where you put your gloves on. Go ahead and put on your gloves, dip your finger into the powder, kind of dust it off, and you're going to rub it all around your stoma at the sites that you need to rub it. And I go ahead and rub it around my stoma, and then I rub it around the square where my appliance goes. And so what you'll do next is, after you've put the powder on, do not worry, it will not come off when you use this, but use these skin protective wipes, and you're going to open it up and you're going to just rub that all around your stoma. And this can even touch your stoma. Like sometimes if there's something on my stoma, or if I've happened to have gotten some nystatin powder on it, I use that to just kind of dab it off. However, again, don't worry, these will not hurt your stoma. I try not to get the adhesive remover on it because that just doesn't seem like it would feel good. But there's no feeling, but it just seems like it's not something that should touch it. But these don't hurt. These are very good for the skin, and these are meant to be used. They also have a spray, but I ran out of the spray, and the wipes work just fine, so I have never reordered any of the spray. But these work amazing at keeping your skin. This is really one of the key things that keeps your skin safe. Okay, so after that, you have to let everything dry. You cannot put this next product on if your skin is wet. Oh, these things are so difficult. Okay, it's very tacky. I mean, you can see it doesn't come off, and that's the point. The whole point of this next product is to go around your stoma and prevent leaks. Very important. Very important that you get this one on right. So what you do is you take your fingers. I'm going to try to do it over my black shirt so you can actually see it. It's like a pineapple ring. But you take your fingers and you kind of press into the center and all around it. I don't worry about the outside edges as much, but really that center part I try to get flattened because that works around my stoma. I need it to be as flush with my skin as possible. Just because of the way my stoma opening is. My stoma opening is very low. It's low and to the left. That just made me laugh. I'm sorry. I'm a child sometimes. But anyway, so you put that on. And so you kind of, you know, this is when your mirror comes in handy. So you hold your mirror out, and then you place it around your stoma, and it needs to fit pretty flush to your stoma. If there's like maybe, I think it has to be an eighth of an inch or less. If there's that much kind of around the opening of your stoma, between the opening and this, you're fine. But anything more than that, you're going to have to redo it. So you put this around. Now my stoma is kind of ovaled, and I can't show you right now because I have one of my mini bags on and they're not see-through. So mine's kind of oval, So that's about what mine looks like. I mean, it looks like a pineapple ring. Okay, so there's that. So once you get that on, oh, my nose is so itchy. You can use these. At this point, mine has picked a size and it's decided to stay with it, which is conveniently 1 inch. I know how to eye it at this point to kind of cut a little bit of a nook where my stoma opening is. But on here, when I first got it, it was 1 inch and 1 1/8 inch. So what I did, I'll show you guys real quick, and hopefully this shows up, and if it doesn't, then I apologize. I'm losing my voice. Okay. Let's find the 1 inch. Okay, here's the 1 inch. And the first marking on here anyway is for 1 inch, if you can see that. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so I would take this, hold on. It's kind of awkward at this angle, isn't it? And I would take my pen and I would just draw a circle. Okay, so that way I have a circle. But because it was oval, it would also be 1 1/8 inch. So I would mark the 1/8 over what I just drew, and I would mark the edges, like say it was here and here, and then I would just connect it to my 1 inch mark. Does that make sense? So that I could cut an oval. Oh, I just marked all over my hand. Look, I just marked all over my hand. I'm a pro. Okay, so next thing that you're going to do is you are going to cut. Okay, let me kind of sit straight so that maybe you guys can see this. And this may not be perfect because of the angle that I'm doing it at, but let me try to get it close to you guys. These are, if you can see, curved, which helps with cutting. And you want these to stay sharp so that, you know, just so that they can cut these, because it goes around your stoma, so you don't want something that's cutting jagged edges rubbing against your stoma, because I mean, think about it, even though it doesn't have any feeling, that makes my skin crawl thinking about it. Okay, so you're going to go ahead, and when you do cuts with these scissors, you want to do cuts. You don't want to do that choppiness where it doesn't, you want to do that. That's going to prevent jagged edges. So you're going to go ahead and cut, and you're going to cut up to the line. Now once you get to the line, the outside line that you need, you're going to do a sharp turn. Hold on, it's so weird from this angle. I'm going to do a sharp turn. Yeah, I can't do it from this angle. Hold on. Yeah, nope, not happening. Okay, you're going to do a sharp turn like so, and you're just going to cut around what you need. So let me go ahead and cut this real quick. You guys can kind of watch. Okay. So, there, I kind of cut it, and you see it's going to be flat on top, no rough edges, and then on the inside, you know, you can see kind of where I cut it, sort of at an oval. But anyway, take your finger on the inside part that's going to be touching your skin. Take your finger and rub it. And what that'll do is that'll smooth out any rough edges, but if you feel anything super sharp, take the scissors, like right here, there's a little plastic. Okay, take your scissors and get rid of that. Again, who wants any kind of sharp edge jabbing you? Okay, so at this point, you've got the site cleaned, you've got the previous appliance off, site cleaned, you've got your Sarah ring on, and you've got your thing cut. And that's one thing I want to mention. I just forgot to mention this. I usually go ahead and cut mine before I even start. However, that's because I know what size mine is already, and it's not going to get any bigger or smaller. And so if you are still at a point where you're having to measure it, then that's okay. Go ahead and wait until you can measure it, but otherwise you can, that's something that you can go ahead and get out of the way, and that'll help a lot. Now next thing, you'll see that there's like a little tab at the top here. You just peel that off. And guess what, folks? This is the part that goes against your skin, that really sticky glue part. So you have two options here. For a while I was wearing mine in a diamond shape because the way that it fit, it was much more comfortable, and I'll show you. Hold on. And I have several layers on right now, so kind of overlook that. I had to go to one of my daughter's lessons earlier, which was outside, and I needed to wear lots of layers, and I'm still cold, so I haven't changed yet. But let me show you guys this. Okay, hold on. Oh, and my bag's kind of full. Okay, but you can kind of see, hold on, let me step back a little, how I have mine squared, if you can see. Here, I'll draw my finger across the top of it. Dun, dun. But used to, when everything, here, let me fix everything now. Oh, heaven's sakes, I've got it all messed up. Okay. So at first, everything was still swollen and fixing, and so I hated when I put it on squared because the top part went right into my belly button. Oh, no, I didn't like that, and I had an incision right there, and so this was stuck to that incision, so every time I had to change my appliance I was pulling at that incision, and it was really uncomfortable. So I wore it in a diamond shape for a little bit, so that my belly button was right here and this was going under my belly button, which was a lot more comfortable. But then I started having a lot of leaks, so I had to square it again, and now I don't have leaks anymore unless I just put something on wrong, which regardless of how good you are at it, you'll get some leaks. Don't let it defeat you. It's just gonna happen. Be prepared. Emergency kit. Okay, anyway, so at this point I'm going to recap. We've already removed the previous appliance, cleaned the area, added nystatin powder if we needed to, put on our skin protective wipe, put on our ring, and now we've got our appliance on. You're almost done, guys, almost done. At this point you pick a bag. Pick a bag, any bag. Now this, we'll start with the mini bag because it's kind of going to be easier to see. And forgive me, my face is going to go away for a second. But if you can see at the bottom, there is a little Velcro type snap right here, and it's an extra lip. And then you've got these folds down here. What you will do is once you get the bag on, and I'll show you how to get the bag on in just a second, but you are going to, see if I can get it over my shirt so you can see, fold, fold, and fold. And once you get to that last fold, see if you can see it, Velcro, Velcro, you are going to lock it into place. Brilliant. Protects you. I have been out in public before, just a few days ago, and I had my bag on, and I did not snap that into place right, or my clothes kept rubbing it or something, but it did come undone. And let me tell you, I was able to catch before it fully unrolled, all those rolls. And another thing is, it is really hard to open this. Like, it has to be forced open pretty hard, and then you can get it open and see inside the bag. Anyway, so yeah, there's many levels of protection that they have put into place to help make sure that this is not unbearable. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the ring around the appliance real quick, just so you can get kind of an idea of what it looks like. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it very well, but this part right here is that ring. And that's another thing. If you cut your appliance too big, that ring is going to help prevent any leaks. So you've got the ring, and wait a minute, I'm a genius. Okay, so you've got This is the inside of the wafer. You've got the ring on the sticky side. I put it on the wrong side. But that's the part that's going against your skin, like so. You will take the bag, and it's the same as a Ziploc bag. They always say start at the bottom. I can never get it to clamp at the bottom, but listen, I'll see if you can hear it. Do you hear the popping? Or maybe you just hear the airplane going over. Either way. But anyway, you just want to double check all around. When you have it on you, you can see it and you can feel it. But I just continue to take my hand. If you can see here, let me hold this right there. Just pinch between those two parts. Pinch between the wafer and the bag. Get that clasp nice and good. You're good to go. Now the very last thing that you'll do, here, I'll go ahead and put it back on my hand, is the glue is going to start bonding to your body, but a very important step is for you to take your hand, here I'll show you, because it's easier to show you in this. You are going to take your hand and you are going to cover over, just hug. You don't have to press tightly, but you are going to hug your appliance with your hands. You are just going to cup your hands over it, almost in a dome. That way you're not pressing down on your stoma, because there's no need to do that. And you're going to do that for at least 2 minutes. They told me between 1 to 2 minutes, but I do it for 2 to 3 minutes because I'm a worrywart. And it just works for me. So you have to do that. And what that does is that kickstarts the glue and the adhesive, and it gets everything sealed in place, and that way you're good to go. Once you've done that, just clean everything up and wash your hands and you're good to go. Now, a lot of people will wear gloves through the whole duration. I'm so tired, sorry, I'm yawning. Okay, some people will wear gloves through the whole duration of the changing of the appliance. I don't. I just use it for the initial part when I'm applying the nystatin powder, because after that, when I'm doing the Sarah ring, I do not like to wear gloves because it seems extra tacky on gloves, and so it's hard for me to get it to the right size and so on. So that's it. Now I just wanted to mention to you guys, I really appreciate the support that I have gotten from you all, and you know, it's really fun that I was talking to my kids about it earlier, and my kids were like, I think it's really cool that you make YouTube videos, and you know, they were really, you know, excited about it. And I don't involve them in it a lot. I mean, they'll help me with like editing stuff, or I'll let them watch them, but I don't show them in the videos, and that's just because there's not a need to. I don't feel the need to include them in the videos, but I think it's really cool, and they kind of give me a boost and added motivation to continue to do this. And I'm going to keep making these videos until I feel like there's really nowhere else for me to go with them. However, that being said, since I do call it my UC diary because this has been such a big portion of my life. However, now that I don't have ulcerative colitis anymore, and you know, I'm going through the J-pouch surgery, and I'll have the final surgery in a month. You know, I'm going to have to figure out ways to kind of, you know, like living with the J-pouch and, you know, things like that, and kind of getting back into having a normal life. And, you know, I hope that that helps people. I hope that it provides hope, because I know that at my sickest, really for the last 7 years, I felt like there was no hope. And so I hope that it gives you hope, and I hope that it helps you or help someone that you love. And if there's ever any questions, please feel free to contact me. And you can find me on Facebook under my UC Diary, or you can follow me on Twitter. I'm Ginger Avenger 8, I believe it is. But you know, definitely please share this and like and subscribe and comment, because I really want to know that you guys are out there, and I know that you are, because I check my channel a lot. And you know, I'm up to like 400 views on my channel, which blows my mind that people have watched my videos at least 400 times, whether it's one person watching it 400 times or 300 people watching it, you know, and some watching it a couple times, whatever the case may be. It's really amazing. And so I just want to build up my subscriber count. Not for any monetary reasons, but just because I just want to know that I'm reaching people. So I really do want to help people as much as I can. So thank you very much for listening to me and watching me yawn and stumble through my 400 layers of clothes and kind of bounce around. But I hope that this was helpful. And if you have any questions or anything that you want to add, please leave a comment below and do not forget to subscribe.